new episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. like somebody that we...
That's so true.
Yeah.
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about.
Greg Gutfeld's joke landed perfectly, filling the room with laughter. But he didn't stop there. He used the moment to call out what he saw as clear hypocrisy. For years, Sunny Hostin has pushed for accountability when it comes to people's ancestral histories, often tying her arguments to systemic oppression and historical responsibility. However, when confronted with troubling details about her own family's past, she brushed it off as just another fact of life. Gutfeld wasn't about to let that slide. He pointed out how moments like these highlight the flaws of identity politics, especially when someone's stance doesn't align with their own reality. He argued that Sunny's moral authority had just taken a serious hit and emphasized the importance of self-awareness and nuance when discussing sensitive topics like race and history.
She is so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
Exactly, because if she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now one?
Gutfeld explained that by reducing complex issues to identity-based arguments, activists like Sunny often ignore inconvenient truths, including their own contradictions. The real irony, he pointed out, wasn't just that Sunny's ancestors were part of a system she condemns, but that she refused to reflect on it. Instead of acknowledging the contradiction, she downplayed its significance. His commentary struck a chord with many, serving as a clear example of what happens when moral superiority collides with uncomfortable realities. For Gutfeld, this wasn't just about Sunny. It was a broader lesson on how personal accountability often gets overshadowed by performative outrage. The internet reacted instantly, flooding social media with memes and sharp humor. One viral post joked, "Reparations? Let me write that check to myself real quick." On Twitter and TikTok, opinions were divided. Some defended Sunny, arguing she shouldn't be blamed for her ancestors' actions, while others called out her double standard.
In her defense, everyone has ancestors that did unspeakably horrible things. It's just that not everyone's ancestors have records tied to their DNA about it. Worried for Sunny Hostin's progeny in the future that do a DNA test and find out that they were related to a cast member of The View. And they're like, oh, it all makes so much sense now. Why I'm so stupid and fat.
Situation. She acknowledged that while no one is responsible for their ancestors' actions, the real issue was Sunny's reluctance to engage with the same level of scrutiny she applies to others. This sparked a bigger debate. Should public figures be held to the same moral standards they demand from others? Critics argued that Sunny missed an opportunity for genuine reflection, instead brushing off her family's history. Rather than opening a meaningful discussion about ancestry and accountability, the conversation quickly shifted to accusations of hypocrisy. Then came the awkward fallout on The View. The moment the news broke, the usual lively discussion at the table fell into an uncomfortable silence. Even Whoopi Goldberg, known for her sharp wit, seemed unsure how to respond to the irony. Meanwhile, on Gutfeld's show, the reaction was completely different. His co-hosts didn't hold back, cracking jokes and taking playful jabs. One even quipped that Sunny might need to start shaming herself for her family's past. Their laughter served as a sharp critique, further exposing what they saw as inconsistencies in her stance.
Guess there's nothing worse than to find out you're a white woman.
She's so disappointed.
It's really disappointing.
Her mother was white.
Oh my God.
Shame.
Oh my God.
The horror. History, and finds out that this is fantastic. She is descended from slaveholders. She's descended from slaveholders, and she's been apparently getting a lot of mail about her call for reparations because it turns out she's going to be paying them and not actually.
Rosie O'Donnell offered a more measured take, emphasizing that people should be judged by their actions, not their ancestry. She cautioned against oversimplifying complex issues like race and history, noting that such revelations can challenge rigid narratives and encourage much-needed self-reflection. Reactions to Sunny's response were sharply divided. Some saw it as a chance for personal accountability, while others viewed it as another case of identity politics backfiring. Regardless of where people stood, the controversy around her reaction was impossible to ignore. What could have been a moment of growth instead turned into a debate about hypocrisy and her reluctance to confront uncomfortable truths. This story serves as a reminder that no one's history is without complexity. It also raises an important question. If you demand accountability from others, shouldn't you hold yourself to the same standard? Whether Sunny chooses to address this issue directly or ignore it altogether, her response will leave a lasting impact on her legacy.
The View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sonny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked, half baked, and you went on stage with it. It's nothing.
Just go for it. Yeah.
Sunny Hostin's personal life is now facing even more controversy. This time, the focus is on her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, who is caught up in a massive legal battle. The allegations, insurance fraud, illegal kickbacks, and a stunning 180 defendants named in a RICO lawsuit. This isn't just a routine legal case, it's a high-stakes scandal with the potential to send shockwaves through the medical industry. At the center of the lawsuit is an alleged scheme led by Dr. Hostin and others, accused of exploiting the healthcare system for profit. The claims include accepting bribes to perform unnecessary surgeries and submitting fraudulent insurance claims for procedures that may have never even happened. Picture this: patients put under anesthesia for operations they didn't need, while insurance companies unknowingly paid the price. If proven true, this could go down as one of the most shocking medical fraud cases in recent history.
That has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's
Dr. Hostin's lawyer, Daniel, has hit back hard, dismissing the lawsuit as baseless and accusing the insurance company of using it as a distraction from their own financial troubles. As the legal battle intensifies, what makes this case even more explosive is how it connects to Sunny. Reports suggest she may have been fully aware of her husband's alleged wrongdoing. Joe Rogan wasted no time weighing in. The podcast giant called out what he saw as hypocrisy, pointing out that while Sunny has often criticized others for their medical views, she has yet to acknowledge the possibility that she knew about her husband's alleged illegal activities. His comments only added fuel to the fire, casting doubt on Sunny's credibility. This situation is no longer just about the lawsuit. It's about the reality behind public figures and their carefully managed images. The drama continues to unfold, and how Sunny responds will shape how the public sees her moving forward. But before this controversy could settle, another headline took center stage. This time, it wasn't The View or a political debate. It was Carrie Underwood's decision to perform at the presidential.
You say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon.
Country music superstar Carrie Underwood, known for her incredible talent and drama-free career, suddenly found herself at the center of cancel culture. What should have been a proud moment, a chance to celebrate her country, turned into a wave of backlash. Critics quickly accused her of supporting a convicted felon simply because she agreed to perform. But here's the twist. The outrage wasn't really about her performance. It was about what it represented to those who couldn't separate their political views from their appreciation of her as an artist.
Superstar Carrie Underwood has spent most of her career avoiding political talk, but she's set to perform at the upcoming inauguration. She said in a statement that she's doing it because the country must come together in the spirit of unity and look to the future. And lots of her fans aren't thrilled about it, but lots of her fans are. So let's put this in perspective here. What do y'all think?
I personally hope we're moving beyond the era of politics where we want to cancel people's livelihoods because we don't like their politics. And whether it was the Dixie Chicks for criticizing George Bush, didn't agree with it then, and Carrie Underwood, if you have a problem, you register your complaint by not downloading her songs and not going to her shows.
Right.
But I also think from a business standpoint, it's not a bad decision for Carrie Underwood. 75 million people voted for Trump. Artists tend to skew left-leaning. So she's overnight going to become an icon of MAGA and the American right. She's probably going to make a lot of money off of it. So I get why she did it.
Despite the backlash, Carrie Underwood didn't waver. Instead, she stood firm, gaining even more respect from fans who admired her for sticking to her decision. Meanwhile, some of her fellow country stars stayed silent, worried about potential backlash or losing endorsements. But Carrie didn't back down. She stood tall. Asterisk, The View asterisk quickly jumped into the controversy, accusing her of normalizing the convicted felon just for singing asterisk America the Beautiful. Asterisk yet. As of now, no felony conviction exists, just outrage. The hypocrisy in the media was hard to ignore, especially since Carrie's performance was nothing more than an act of patriotism. Her story is a perfect example of how cancel culture often turns into a cycle of contradictions. The outrage eventually faded, but Carrie's career remained as strong as ever. Her albums still top the charts, her concerts sell out, and while critics have moved on to their next target, Carrie continues to do what she does best, staying true to herself and building a lasting